Oh, hey guys, it's me, Hot Ham Radio here. Beep, 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 beep. I'm just coming to you, not live, but kind of live. There's a new Idaho paperwork thing filed today, August 9th, 2023. Ancy Taylor, notice filing affidavit. Leah Larkin, support defendant's third motion to compel. Notice of filing affidavit of Leah Larkin in support of defendant's third motion to compel. Comes now Brian C. Kohberger by and through his attorney of record, Ancy Taylor, public defender, and hereby files the attached affidavit of Leah Larkin in support of the defendant's third motion to compel, dated this 9th day of August, 2023. So this just came out. Wow, they're doing good with their paperwork website. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Affidavit. This is the affidavit of Leah Larkin. State of California, County of Alameda. 1. I'm an adult over the age of 18. I have personal knowledge of the facts set forth in this affidavit. 2. I have been engaged as an expert in the above titled matter since July 27th, 2023. So pretty recently. 3. I am a genetic genealogist, having practiced genetic genealogy since 2014. My educational background is a bachelor's degree in biology and a PhD in botany. My curriculum vitae is attached. As a genetic genealogist, I have a clear understanding of how genetic genealogy works. I have developed tools that are in widespread use by genealogy practitioners. Genetic genealogy is best described as the use of DNA data to evaluate biological relationships. There are 3 categories of genealogical DNA tests: Y chromosome DNA, direct paternal line only; mitochondrial DNA, direct maternal line only; and autosomal DNA, all branches of a pedigree. A genetic genealogist integrates information from these DNA tests with genealogical documentation to reveal or corroborate relationships. Genetic genealogy primarily uses autosomal DNA tests that were originally designed for biomedical research. Since 23andMe brought their health tests to the consumer market in late 2007, Family Tree DNA, Ancestry DNA, MyHeritage, and a handful of smaller companies have launched their own genetic genealogy products. These companies all provide genealogy tools to their customers on their websites and also produce a raw DNA data file that the customer can download. The raw data file contains the genetic profile for that customer. This genetic profile is not the same as an STR profile that is commonly uploaded to CODIS in a forensic DNA analysis. Just thinking about this. Most of the human genome is identical across all people. Only the DNA positions that vary between individuals are useful for genealogy. These variable positions are called single nucleotide polymorphisms, SNP, pronounced SNP. The direct-to-consumer genealogy companies use a type of test called a microarray that samples roughly 600,000 of these DNA SNPs. Unlike the STR markers used for matching in CODIS, SNPs can convey information about medical and physical traits, as well as biological relationships to close and distant cousins. A microarray SNP profile is sometimes called a kit. Once the lab test is complete, the genealogy company compares the new kit to those already in its database, looking for long stretches of SNPs that are compatible. The company then presents these matches in a list, sorted by the amount of shared DNA measured in centimorgans, abbreviated CM. Whoa. Okay. A standard DNA microarray requires approximately 200 ng of quality DNA. That quality and quantity is often not available from crime scenes or degraded human remains. Instead, specialized laboratories can generate an SNP profile through a more complex process. First, they attempt to sequence the entire genome using next-generation sequencing, NGS, technology. This technology works a bit like skimming while reading a document. On the first pass, NGS technology will not capture all of the data, and it may make mistakes. NGS involves repeated passes called coverage to get more accurate results. For human genome sequences, 30 times to 50 times coverage is recommended. Okay. Once the NGS file is obtained, it must be manipulated through bioinformatics to make it compatible with the genealogy databases. The extra data must be stripped out to just the SNPs that the genealogy companies test, and missing or ambiguous data must be inferred using statistical methods. The kit is then uploaded to a genealogy database and evaluated. A poor quality kit might have too few matches, or it might have phantom matches that are not real measures of relationship. Often, the bioinformatics step must be repeated. This trial and error process can take several tries to produce a kit that works well in a genealogy database. Only GED match, family tree DNA, and some smaller entities allow crime scene and human remains samples to be uploaded. I wonder if this is going where I think it's going. Let me just take a sip of my water. The terms of service at Ancestry DNA, 23andMe, and MyHeritage prohibit forensic/investigative genetic genealogy in their databases. However, oh wow, this is really interesting. I can't highlight it because it's a scanned PDF. However, in the absence of effective oversight, forensic genetic genealogists are on an honor system to obey the terms of service and the Department of Justice interim policy on forensic genetic genealogy. What? So they can kind of do whatever they want? Is that what she's saying? What? Each of the genealogy databases compares the user's DNA data to all of the other data files in their database, then presents a list of DNA matches who share meaningful amounts of DNA. The match list includes the match's name or alias, how much DNA they share in centimorgans, and occasionally a link to a family tree that the match has voluntarily provided. The genetic genealogy databases are siloed from one another. If you test at Ancestry DNA and your sibling tests at 23andMe, you will not be matched to one another because you are not in the same database. I did not know that. GED Match is a third-party site that functions as a genetic genealogy commons. A user can upload their raw DNA data file from their testing company and find matches to people who uploaded to GED Match from different companies. Okay, so you have to specifically go to that, GED Match. Like GED Match, Family Tree DNA and MyHeritage also allow uploads of raw data files. Ancestry DNA and 23andMe do not. There's a lot of footnotes here, so I recommend that if you want to read this document, it is on the iCourt portal for Idaho. It's the last filed document. Broadly speaking, the more DNA two people share, the more closely they are related. The correlation is not perfect, though. Any given centimorgan amount can represent more than one possible relationship. The testing companies suggest probable relationships, but experienced genetic genealogists typically use the online, shared CM tool shown at right for a hypothetical match of 200 cm to see mathematical probabilities of different relationships for a given centimorgan amount. Note that there are nearly 20 possible relationships listed for a match of 200 cm, which is considered a fairly close match. Interesting expert. Adoptees have used genetic genealogy DNA tests to identify their biological families for roughly 15 years now. The same methods used for people with unknown parentage can be used to identify forensic samples from a crime scene or unidentified human remains. Unlike standard forensic STR tests, which are used to identify individuals, genetic genealogy testing identifies possible relatives. Yeah, that's what I thought. First, the genealogist attempts to build family trees for the DNA matches of the person of interest, starting with the closest matches. Relatively few users at GED Match and Family Tree DNA post their pedigrees there, so the genealogist must build trees for them. We attempt to identify the match using their screen name and email address. Then we build public records, social media. Then we search public records, social media, obituaries, news articles, and genealogy websites to build out their tree through their parents, grandparents, and so on. Most genetic genealogists build these so-called research trees at Ancestry.com. The goal of building trees is to figure out how two or more matches are related to one another. For example, if the person of interest matches two people who share a great-grandparent couple, making them second cousins to one another, the genealogist now knows which branch of their tree is relevant to the search. The person of interest could be descended from that couple, or the connection could be one or more generations further back through either the husband or the wife in that couple. Once several of the DNA matches have been connected to one another, the genealogist must figure out how the person of interest fits into the tree of those matches. We use age, sex, geographic location, and other circumstantial evidence alongside the DNA-based relationship predictions. A statistical tool called "What are the odds?" literally, in quotes. What are the odds? Can analyze multiple DNA matches together to evaluate where the person of interest best fits into the tree based on the amounts of shared DNA, where they best fit. What are the odds is not intended to, I'm sorry, it's just funny that it's literally called that. Quote, what are the odds, unquote, is not intended to give a definitive answer. Rather, it points the genealogist towards the most likely branches in the tree for further research. The tool is also not appropriate for all circumstances. For example, it is not intended for populations that married within themselves, for double cousins, or when most of the matches are below 40 centimorgans. See, I'm getting it. The genealogist needs to do this for both the maternal and paternal sides of the person of interest's pedigree. Often this involves building dozens of trees and performing several what are the odds analyses. We are looking for instances where a descendant in one DNA family tree married a descendant in another DNA family tree, because those unions point to where the person of interest might fit into the tree. Often the best we can do with the existing DNA matches is to focus on a set of cousins as candidates. Then, more DNA testing is required. This process can vary in complexity depending on the individual starting point. In doing this type of research, the genetic genealogist will generate numerous documents to ensure an adequate paper trail. This paper trail can include the list of DNA matches, the research tree with genealogical documentation, public record searches for members of the DNA family, correspondence with DNA matches, descendant diagrams showing how the DNA matches are related to one another, and what are the odds analyses. This documentation is necessary and important for the following reasons. DNA matches sometimes hide their profiles. An error in the tree can mislead the genealogist, and the descendant diagrams and what are the odds analyses are usually updated repeatedly during a search. As a genetic genealogist, I have learned about the power and the privacy implications of genetic genealogy. The tests themselves were designed to reveal biomedical information and can also reveal family secrets about the tester. In many cases, private information can be inferred about the DNA relatives of the tester as well. For those reasons, leaders in the genetic genealogy community developed standards that emphasize consent and privacy. I am aware of the Department of Justice interim policy to limit when forensic genetic genealogy can be used and which databases are accessible to law enforcement. It is possible for the databases to be utilized in a way that circumvents these core principles. Wow. That's scary. Notably, I am aware of A case in which the chain of custody failed and the wrong S&P profile was sent to the wrong client. B, investigative genetic genealogists uploading S&P profiles to a forbidden database in violation of that company's terms of service and the Department of Justice interim policy. C, forensic genetic genealogy being used for a case that did not meet the Department of Justice threshold. D, investigative genetic genealogists using security loopholes to see DNA kits who are opted out of forensic matching at GED match and family tree DNA. E, a case in which an SNP profile was performed on an innocent woman, a potential Fourth Amendment violation of her right to privacy, and uploaded to GED match without her knowledge or consent. Yikes. Having access to the data and methods used to identify someone will provide answers to A, compliance with Department of Justice policies, B, how a DNA sample was handled from the time of collection through its forensic genetic genealogy testing, C, the process of SNP creation, D, the use of the SNP profile, and E, the use or lack thereof of loopholes and violations of terms of service to the various genetic genealogy databases. Further, your affiant saith not. What? Oh my God, I'm going to have a word with my lawyer friend about language like that. Like, what? Further, your affiant saith not. She has not left to say, apparently. That was it. Dated this 8th day of August, 2023. Leah Larkin. Blub, 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 blub. Interesting. You can see her qualifications and the attachments are also in this document. Looks like she's quite well qualified. That was really interesting, though, because I've been wondering about that. Like, where exactly did they how did the FBI come to these profiles? Like, to create this family tree? I feel like this is a good explanation of why the defense might want to hear about that. It's interesting, right? I learned something. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I will catch you all on the flippity flip. Over and out. Beep, 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 beep. Bye.